retaliation. I'm Paul Stevens, Fox News. The U.S. launching a military strike on ISIS targets in Nigeria. Fox's Madison Scarpino.
President Trump says that strike was deadly, and he says it's because they've been targeting and viciously killing primarily Christians. Now, he just made the announcement on Truth Social saying in part, quote, "I have previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there would be hell to pay." And tonight there was. The Department of War executed numerous perfect strikes, as only the United States is capable of doing. Under my leadership, our country will not allow radical Islamic terrorism to prosper. May God bless our military, and Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many more if their slaughter of Christians continues.
Meantime, the government has been discussing the issue with the Nigerian government, threatening to cut off aid to that country if the situation is not rectified. The Trump White House and Ukrainian officials working through Christmas to try and end the war between Ukraine and Russia.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he and Ukrainian leaders had a very good conversation with President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, and the president's son-in-law and unofficial advisor, Jared Kushner. The Ukrainian leader says they discussed certain substantive details of the ongoing work toward a peace plan, saying, quote, "There are good ideas that can work toward a shared outcome and the lasting peace. President Trump has made it a priority to end Russia's invasion of Ukraine, but so far, all sides have been unable to come to an agreement." In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
A 15th victim has died due to injuries sustained in the crash of a UPS plane in Louisville, Kentucky back on November 4th. The aircraft's left engine, left pylon separating from the wing just as the plane was taking off, catching fire as it went up over the fuselage before hitting the ground. America's listening to Fox News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-393-1881. That's 800-393-1881. 800-393-1881.
If the left made any sense, they would be right. Listen to Extra 106.3.
Oh, yeah. Morning, y'all. This is Ben Burnett of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show. Only it's Friday. It's Friday, Jerry Payne, all day long.
The day after Christmas.
It is. I thought about that Ben Folds song, 6 a.m., day after Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Throwback. But we got some Stone Temple Pilots this morning. Jerry's just playing by his own set of rules. I love it.
Always. Rules may be broken, too.
This is a great post-Christmas song.
Yes.
How was it, man? Did you have a excellent time?
Yeah.
Girlfriend, family, anybody sick? Anybody not sick?
Unfortunately, we weren't able to see my parents. They're both sick, but they're on the mend, but still feeling a little contagious. So we stopped by, did a drive-by and dropped off some food. Spent Friday or Christmas Eve at my girlfriend's parents' place, traditional Polish dinner, and then broke out the wine.
What's that like?
That's pierogies. That's galumpkies.
I don't know, but I'm interested.
So galumpkies are like sausage, or not sausage, it's like a pork, rice, and ground beef kind of rolled in cabbage and then put into tomato stew.
I think I could do it.
Yeah, it's good.
They're hardy people.
Yes.
On the whole. I don't know if it's due to weather or previous conditions from the First and Second World War, but they are definitely like, we better eat now.
Yeah, and we did.
I love it, man. I have 3 beautiful children, and some of the, let's see how I want to say this, some of the mystery, and I believe the people at home will call it magic of Christmas is not what it once was, but it's still a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's where you got to press the issue as the dad in the house, right?
A lesser man would not press the issue, but absolutely, we get done with Christmas, or we get done with Halloween on the 31st, and like the tree is up on the 1st. So when this is not a secret for those of you at home, but yeah, Xtra 106.3 and the sister station 680 The Fan. The A team is with their loved ones because they do this all day, every day. I would call it 330 days a year.
That's about right.
And they deserve some time off, so they call me, and dude, I couldn't wait to get out of the freaking house. Couldn't wait. And if that's you, there's somebody listening right now that was like, here.
Somebody just driving around this morning.
Yeah, give them the number, Jerry. I want to talk to you. If you had no good reason to get out of the house this morning and go work, I want to hear from you.
404-741-1230.
404-741-1230, because I know you're listening. It takes one to know one, and I'm him.
I'm going to wake up before my mother-in-law and get out of here before I run into her.
It was funny. I got a nudge this morning because it's usually like it's 6 to 10 that we're running kind of the abbreviated schedule here at the station, and 7 to 9 is what we're on today, doing live and local. And I got the nudge. It was like, it's 4:45. Shouldn't you be gone? And I was like, relax. So it has been a wonderful season. I leave. Really, I kind of get my year started about Monday. I'll go to Miami for a couple of days.
Nice.
Thank goodness the weather's nice. And then we're off to the races for 2026. I'll be in next Friday. I believe that's when we go back to full strength, as the hockey fans would know it.
Yes.
And I'll be in with
Power play. Power play's over next Friday.
Yeah, we're running. This is definitely a power play radio week.
It is.
So I appreciate all of you. I'm dead serious. I want to hear from you. 404-741-1230. There's somebody out there that's like, they were driving to the office. It usually takes them an hour and a half. It took 35 minutes today, and they got there, and they're like, I'm just going to surf the internet all day, and I ain't going home.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go home a little bit later. I need a break from the in-laws, family from out of town. I see you out there.
Tired of leftovers already.
I am, dude. It's hard, but so be it.
Yes, sir.
I want to get into something that was really interesting over the course. I guess it's dropped. All the good stories drop right before the holiday season. Fonnie Willis finally agrees to come testify in front of the Georgia State Senate committee. Way past the sell-by date. We didn't learn a lot. She's a mad black woman. I get it. She did what was best for her, but to comply with the said subpoena. But I thought it was interesting. On the heels of that, the Federalist decides to roll an article about Georgia's favorite topic, especially amongst the 2020 crowd, in that Brad Raffensperger, and there's somehow the election has become stolen again because 300,000 ballots didn't have a signature from the voting official. I'm going to say this once, and I've said it before. I think I'm like most people. I have no idea what actually happened with 2020. But I have been a resident of Fulton County for a decade and a half. And I can count the things that Fulton County does well on one finger. And all they do well is light money on fire. And it doesn't matter if it's the election. I think about this. Back up for a second, because I'll write about this. This is coming out. I'm a columnist monthly for the AJC, and I was like, what am I going to do for January? I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to do for January. The Atlanta Braves moved to this facility back probably 12 years ago now? 11 years ago? Out here to the Battery, where we are at Xtra 106.3 and 680 The Fan. Fulton County is the county in which Turner Field resided. And the Braves pulled off the move of the century to come out here some 12 or 13 or 14 miles. And the people in Fulton County didn't even know. Kasim Reed had no idea. The Fulton County Commission didn't know that they were looking to move. You moved the Southeast preeminent professional sports franchise to Cobb County without a soul from Fulton County having any knowledge that this was going to happen. You expect me to believe that these same people pulled off the election heist of the century? I'm not buying it. And I don't think there's any... I'm not going to say that there's no way for them to get organized enough to do this. I'll say it this way. I think there are governments in this country who could steal one. I do. I think most of them are probably run by Republicans. However, I'm not insinuating that one way or the other. I'm just saying there is a level of incompetence with these people, and I think you guys are giving them way too much credit. I was surprised that one reputable paper or publication like the Federalist, which is more or less like those are my people. I won't say establishment Republicans, but they definitely value the states' rights. I was surprised to see that published, and then I was surprised to see how far that column went. And I think two things are true. I think one, the sell-by date, if the 2020 election was a milk carton, even if it was stolen, nobody cares anymore. And I knew nobody cares anymore when our dear friend Fonnie Willis, the district attorney in Fulton County, agreed to a 2 or 2.5 year subpoena with the Georgia State Senate, which Burt Jones is a friend of the show, friend of the station. He's a lieutenant governor running for governor, puts together a special committee to go do it, to go ask her a bunch of questions. And she finally says the week before Christmas in the year of our Lord, 2025, that I am going to comply to the subpoena. These are the rules. I'll see you on X date. Christmas comes early. Jerry Payne, what did you learn in that hearing?
I learned she's pretty upset. She's angry. And that's about all that I got. I've got the audio here from some of that if you want it.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, let's just roll the greatest hits collection. Is it you got the dumbass question?
Mm-hmm. I don't review those documents, so you're asking me to look at documents that I haven't for the first time. What I can tell you is that I allowed Mr. Wade to bill 160 hours a week, and then Mr. Wade would be the first one in the office making sure that my staff arrived. He corrected their behavior. They thought that 8:30 meant 8:30. He taught them that 8:30 means 7:45. He got there before them. He left after him. He taught them how to do this case, and he was a leader to that team.
Leader to the team. A leader to the team, Madam DA, the self-proclaimed greatest district attorney in America. I think so there's a couple of things. I didn't realize this when this story first dropped, but the Republicans, and I think there was a Democrat on that committee too, just so they could make it look okay. There were a bunch of things that they were not allowed to ask Fonnie Willis about. Did you know that, Jerry?
No.
They couldn't ask her about the affair with Nathan Wade at all. And so that was why the question was for, and they agreed to, why in the hell would you agree to this? And she was like, this is the only way I'm complying to your subpoena. I guess they thought that they could get around it in different ways. But when I learned that last week, I was like, well, I wondered why they talked to her for 7 or 8 hours and not one question was asked about going on vacation with her married boyfriend. Like, not one. They would talk about time and billing and whatever, and they'd try to bring his name up, but they were not allowed to say that. And that was like mutually agreed to.
I don't understand how she gets to set those rules.
I think that I don't know that it was setting the rules. It was like, if you will agree to this, I will come talk to you. But I don't know what rules she agreed to. I can't imagine if you're like subpoenaing a witness, it's like, and you have to agree to these rules because you're coming in front of our committee. I thought I just think Fulton County, I want to believe that they're like a functioning government. It would be if we were going to go to Cherokee County and steal an election, like let's just make it our team and our people. I feel like we could put 10 people in a room, learn the processes and procedures, and do it. I also think that if Turner Field happened to be in Cherokee County, that those people would have known for sure that it was moving to the battery. Anybody would have known that. And so I don't think anybody's ever made the cases like, can these goons actually be organized enough to take a 100-step process and truly circumvent it maliciously, or are they actually just incompetent? And that's what that's where I truly am. And the bad part is, Jerry, we will never know. There's a great theme in politics, and everybody does it right now. And you said it to me off the air, and it's just never more true. If you know you're in trouble, what do you do in politics? You kick the can down the road. Mm-hmm. And you kick the can down the road and you wait until there was one thing I could change in America is that people had an attention span that was just a little bit longer.
Well, the thing that we see so recently, I mean, in the last decade or so, it's been going on for forever, is, all right, they found something that actually has some teeth. Let's stir up some social justice. I'm going to say something that's going to upset people about some kind of social justice issue, and that'll distract them long enough to where I don't have to face the firing line.
It's unbelievable. Think about it this way, and we'll get to this, down the road. But like, if you're President Bill Clinton, I don't know a lot. I know a lot about President Bill Clinton from his time in elected office, and I know the allegations that surround him, the Clinton Foundation, Epstein, and whatever. But those aren't new. Like, he's been linked to Jeffrey Epstein before any of us knew who he was. There were people that knew that he was linked into this, and I would venture to guess that that's probably like 2 decades old, and maybe more. Like, Bill Clinton did not recently just leave office. It's been a minute. But he loves the ladies, and to what extent, none of us really know. But I'll tell you, think about how powerful that guy is and the stroke that family still has in the Democrat Party, and what he has been able to kick down the road for pretty much 3 decades. Mm-hmm. None of these people are getting in trouble over anything.
No.
Look, we've got them too. I don't know who they are, but we'll, as I said, we'll get to all the stuff that, speaking of like complying with the subpoena with the Senate, is like, yeah, we'll see you the day before Christmas. Enjoy your article. This is passed. The Republicans and the Trump administration specifically putting out the Jeffrey Epstein stuff at this time of the year in as awful a fashion as they have with everything we didn't learn anything off of, and like, we have AI now that can read all these documents, and we still didn't learn anything, and they were forced to comply with the subpoena. I think that there is a gross mistrust the thing I love about the station is that it is really easy to criticize the Democrats. Like, I just talked about Fulton County for 5 to 7 minutes about why they can't do anything well. And that's the logical explanation to me as a guy I've voted for Donald Trump every time he's ever been on a ballot. I don't know that he's the most competent leader in the world, but I like what he's doing overseas. I actually am the guy who's like, I think the Republicans have been wrong about free trade. I think that our adversaries have used it to screw us. And I'm extraordinarily hopeful of what 2026 means to conservatives. But it's not just that. I'm optimistic on what tariffs might mean to the little people. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping, I take him at his word. I think when he said we've been getting screwed forever, I've done a lot of deals. I can tell you how I utilize the tax code in order to make things better for my people, but we can do the same thing here. And I think taking investment stakes in Intel and NVIDIA for what they sell overseas, those companies are going to grow so drastically over the next decade and a half. Any mistake that is made that the United States government, like, sometimes when you're growing really fast, your mistakes matter a lot less. And I think that that's what he's seeing as his way out, because we know he likes to spend money.
Like, yeah, it's the biggest spending bill in history.
And Republicans did it, right?
We're going to grow our way out. We're going to dig up Ben Burnett.
I don't know how we're gonna dig out, but I'm willing to give him a shot. And I'll say this: if enough stuff's in place, and this starts to really, I won't say turn around, because it's not bad. We'll get to that throughout the show. But if people start feeling better, the Democrats, for all intents and purposes, could have a really, really tough 2026. But he's at a place right now where he doesn't have a lot of margin. But if it works out, it could very well be a really, really great year. My name is Ben Burnett. Producer Jerry behind the glass. The Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. We will be right back.
As we prepare to celebrate the holidays with family and friends, we want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from our entire family at Extra 106.3.
Hey, Braves fans, sometimes life throws you a knee-buckling curveball. That's when Truist One Checking steps up to the plate. If you're behind in the count, you won't have to worry about overdraft fees. Plus, eligible clients enjoy a balance buffer for some extra cushion. You'll get a convenient mobile app to keep an eye on things and access to thousands of Truist ATMs. Be ready every inning with Truist One Checking. It's life-ready checking that grows with you. Get Truist One Checking today. Truist Bank. Member FDIC.
Calling all contractors. This is Devin Stovall, Stovall & Company, and we're here for you. We're a third-generation, family-owned and operated company for 75 years and just opened our 11th location in Canton on 9500 Union Hill Road. We're proud to provide your wholesale irrigation, nursery, and landscape supply needs. How do you envision your dream outdoor space for you or your customers? We're here to fulfill them all. We all take pride in special requests and shipping right to your job site. Here at Stovall, we have it all. Check us out at StovallINC.com.
When I first started using a CPAP, getting supplies and equipment was a horrible hassle. It pretty much stayed that way until I discovered CPAPsetcetera.com. Same-day shipping on anything you might need, including travel CPAPs, hoses, masks, you name it. Same-day shipping. CPAPsetc.com or visit their store in Alpharetta. So easy, and you could be preserving your health and saving your life.
Hey, this is Matt from East Cobb. We basically bought our house from our in-laws. It was my wife's childhood home. One of the issues that we've had when we first moved in was our dog and our backyard. It was extremely shaded, could never grow grass back there. We resodded it twice. So ATL Turf Co. did an amazing job with our backyard transformation. They basically created a miniature golf hole. We have a miniature fairway. We also have a miniature little putting green. Consists of about 4 holes, total about 40 yards, so you can definitely work on your short game and your putting. After that transformation that ATL Turf Co. did for us, my father-in-law came and saw his house the way it looked after the fact of we had a putting green and a miniature golf course. Sure enough, he did the same thing with ATL Turf Co. He has a beautiful backyard, wonderful stonework, drainage, and a beautiful practice area for chipping and putting. Check him out online at atlturfco.com.
Hey Atlanta, it's the holidays. The games are on, the good times are flowing, but here's the winning call this season from your friends at Modelo. Don't drink and drive. If you'll be celebrating, drink responsibly. Call a rideshare, grab a cab, or hand your keys to a sober friend. Because nothing's worth losing when it comes to getting home safe. This message is brought to you by Modelo, brewed for those with a fighting spirit, and your friends at 680 The Fan, reminding you to celebrate the holidays responsibly.
Thousands of veterans across Georgia are missing out on the benefits they've earned through their service. The Warrior Alliance is changing that by connecting veterans and their families to life-changing resources and support. Tune into the Warrior Alliance Network, our podcast and radio show dedicated to helping veterans succeed after service. Join us every Saturday at 11 a.m. on 106.3 to hear inspiring veteran stories, discover free programs, and learn about career opportunities available to you. Subscribe to the Warrior Alliance YouTube channel today.
This is Poll Parade with Fox News Director of Polling, Dana Blanton.
A bunch of great tidbits in our latest Fox News poll. First, President Trump. 58% think the White House is focused on the wrong issues. What should be the focus? The largest number, about 4 in 10 voters, say high prices. 2 in 10 say the focus should be health care, and 1 in 10 say jobs. They also have thoughts on what the president should pay less attention to. That's immigration, tariffs, and foreign policy. In fact, Trump receives his lowest approval rating overall on tariffs. Next, a year ago, 55% said they felt hopeful about the future of the country. Now, about the same number, 52%, say the opposite. They are not hopeful. Views are driven by partisanship. 3/4 of Republicans are hopeful about the country's future, while 3/4 of Democrats are not. You can find all our surveys at foxnews.com/poll. I'm Dana Blanton, and that's your Poll Paris.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
It's Friday, December 26th. The Smyrna City Council unanimously approved a $5.7 million contract to add 70 new flock safety cameras and license plate readers to the city's public safety network. The expansion includes 2 drones and will be paid over a 10-year period to boost police response and resource use. Council members said the additional technology is meant to improve response times and support public safety. Cherokee County commissioners have approved the purchase of the ball ground gym for $350,000 as part of a recreation expansion plan. The county plans to update the facility, improve the lighting at Lions Field, convert tennis courts to pickleball courts, and pave the parking lot. Ball ground will still have access for city events, but Cherokee County Recreation and Parks will manage the gym and programming. And Georgia now ranks 6th in the nation for total grocery spending, with residents spending more on groceries than most other states. A recent study shows the state's collective food purchases remain high as household food costs continue to rise. Today's weather, partly cloudy with a high of 68. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Jerry Payne, I think you were trolling me on. I'm
getting some tickets from some speeding cameras. Ben Burnett.
It's like the long story long, but I spent most of my life working in technology, and that is a good thing. I've seen this AI thing from 10 years ago, like when people are starting to put data centers around more rural parts of the country, and Alpharetta's. For those of you who don't know, my name is Ben Burnett. I host a show on the weekends on Xtra, noon on Saturday. I think it's noon on Sunday. I think it's 2:00 on Saturday in the afternoon. Jared put it together. That's neither here nor there. So I was like the OG guy who voted against license plate readers when nobody knew what they were, and it wasn't about. It was never about like. Do you not back the blue? I was like, you guys have no idea what the federal government is capable of with respect to they can access those cameras without a warrant. So if my cops are like stopping crime or whatever, there's a warrant out for somebody's arrest, I'm good. But I found out this is probably 6 to 9 months ago. And look, I'm about to say one that the people in my audience and the people on this station are going to agree with, and then I'm going to flip it on its head. So the police department in Alpharetta or Milton had flagged a license plate reader because the FBI had said this person is an illegal immigrant. She was kind of like a non-DACA borderline baby, had a job, spoke English you'd never known she was foreign. They showed up at her apartment and arrested her, sent her to a detention facility in Texas. And you can say, that's fine, Ben. What do I care? She was here illegally. You're not wrong. Your local government had no idea when they put these things in that the FBI would be able to access them without their knowledge and cooperation. So what law enforcement's going to say no if the federal government does, if they want? But I'll turn this on its head in the same way. You guys remember when the Obama administration utilized the IRS to go after nonprofit groups and NGOs that were conservative in nature? One day, when you install all this technology, it's somebody you care about, and it's a cause you believe in. And if you don't care about it when it's in against something on your own team, like I don't want illegal immigrants in this country. I think one of the great things that the Trump administration has done, bar none, is seal off the border. I think it's the right thing to do. And I think your local government should have the wherewithal to police themselves like they reasonably see fit. I live in Alpharetta. I live in North Fulton, Cherry. Jerry lives in Cherokee County. Like, we live there because it's safe. If it wasn't safe, I don't need a license plate reader to keep me safe. I would move to somewhere that was safe because I have a decent job and I can do that. I don't want to live in the inner city in Atlanta. I don't need a license plate reader to tell me that I don't want to live there. And I think that it was Benjamin Franklin who said a long time ago, because the Fourth Amendment came up because the British had the ability. They were like, this is our sovereign land as your colonies, but this still belongs to the crown. A man who trades his freedom in favor of security will eventually wind up with neither. And if you think about that for a second and a half, I was like, look, I'm willing to take the good with the bad. We're probably over-policed in North Fulton. I know that that's probably not a popular thing to say, but if you call the cops in North Fulton, they're there in 4 minutes. If you have an emergency, like, it's hard to do a lot better than that. I'm just saying it's something to think about. My name is Ben Burnett. This is the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Jerry's trolling me. He was trolling me with the headlines. What was going on with Cherokee County?
Cherokee County has purchased the gym and ball ground. They're doing a bunch of renovations, so the county's taking over it. Ball ground will still be able to use it for city events and stuff like that.
That's a nice little town.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to believe that Atlanta has grown all the way up there. Like, if you had said that, I remember moving to Alpharetta in like 2010, 2011, looking at Hawks Ridge, which is a beautiful golf course if there ever was one. It's not Augusta, but it's real nice. And being like, where in the hell is this place? It's like that scene from Major League where it's like, this guy here is dead. Cross him off the list then. No, I don't mind that. I think they should invest in those resources. It's growing up there.
Yeah.
And to find people in ball ground. I usually pick on Cherokee County a little bit.
Yeah, I know it.
But I'm not.
What was your line? Woodstock's like Alpharetta, but plus 30 pounds.
You still remember?
Like,
you're not over that?
I'm an elephant, man. I never forget.
That was a good one. I love all the people in Woodstock. They're I bet the vast majority of the listening base is up.
Our signal does well up through Cherokee County, which is surprising because you go a little bit east or west, so you can lose it pretty quick.
It's really
you can always hear it crystal clear on the Extra 106.3 app.
You can, and on YouTube if you ever want to look at it, be like, I bet this guy is sexy.
Good morning, YouTube.
Hey, girl. I want to get into the governor's race. Jerry, you got any thoughts? Not really at this point. Is it too early?
I know that when Chris Carr came in, well, that was for no. That was who's your buddy that came in and did the show? That wasn't for the governor's race. He's running for AG, isn't he?
I did have Chris. Attorney General Chris Carr came in the station. It was the day before Halloween, and I just. I'd reached out to him and I said, look, because the studio was open at 10, so when you hear me on the weekends, sometimes I'm live, almost always I pre-record it, so you just never know what's going to happen. And I told Chris if he came at 10 or his team, I said, look, I bet I can get you to do the back half of the Morning Extra, which has an incredible audience from about 7 o'clock until 10 Monday through Friday, 6 o'clock hour. Nobody has an incredible audience at 6. Starts at about 6:30, and they came in. I like Chris a lot. I've seen a lot of television commercials on TV attacking Burt Jones, like between Thanksgiving and now. I saw one this morning, and nobody can find who's doing this. I bet it's him. I won't say I bet it's him. I bet it's somebody who likes him a lot. And he's the first one who's come in. I'd really like to get Brad Raffensperger. He stays away from a lot of. I bet he doesn't come in here ever. Have you had him in here?
We have not. My question would be, because we don't have the boogeyman this time around, right? Stacey Abrams is no longer seeking that position.
Oh, there'll be a boogeyman, but you don't know who it is yet.
I just don't see a Democrat winning in Georgia. So now it's okay. I don't know enough about the people who are throwing their hat in the ring to really. I haven't dug into it yet.
On the other side?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say...
I know they're one of us. That's about it.
There is... I'm always pretty honest. I have great relationships with Raffensperger and his crew, Chris Carr and his crew, and Burt Jones and his crew. And they all know how I think it's Burt Jones' race to lose. And that's not to say there's not 6 months between right now and then, and that something crazy can happen, because the longer you hang around this, the more you're like, that guy who came down the escalators, the president of the United States, like, that's how it works. Brian Kemp was in no way, shape, or form favored to win in Georgia 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. When he made a runoff, he wasn't favored to win the runoff. And then he won the runoff, and it was 75-25. So things change. I'm betting on Burt Jones, but I'll tell you this. If you got money laying around and somebody doesn't like Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, I love him. He's my favorite political guest that I ever have, because he's a person. And even when he's in campaign mode, he's not robotic. And he'll... if you disagree with him, he's like, well, that's fine. That's how I feel. Mm-hmm. And I really like that. I've also seen him, or taken him stuff over time, and seen him and his crew work on it. And at the end of the day, I don't need anything. It's like there are issues and things that you want to learn or want to see happen because they're the right thing to do. And I've seen him pick them up. This with no vested interest. I don't have one. And I really respect the fact that there's probably 25 people around the state, and he'll call me and say, what do you think about this? What would you do here? And why wouldn't you do this? Or why did you disagree with me? That's what I want in a leader. And I think that as Republicans, we're looking at how do you win in 2026? Because if you asked me today at the end of 2025 about the way people feel, not the way things are, the S&P 500 on New Year's Eve closed at record highs, which means if you have money in the United States of America's 500 largest companies, you have as much money in that right now as you ever have. But you can't spend net worth until you're 60. And I'd tell anybody to save. But I would also say that just because you see that number going up, if you don't have access to it and you're wondering how you're going to pay for health care, or you own a small business, and we've got it in the show sheet, there's 195,000 people that
they opted out.
Yeah, they opted out to the Affordable Care Act based on the subsidy. That's a massive number.
And there's a lot of people who probably just let it roll, but they're not going to be able to pay those premiums, and they're going to come off of it as well.
And I think that is, I've always said that letting Obamacare die of natural causes was the right thing for Republicans to do if they're actually going to let it die of natural causes, which means before primary season, you can't come back and save it. This is a mistake, and it has to hurt. Because when you make a mistake, Jerry Payne, it costs you money, or it costs you pain and suffering. And the United States federal government sucks at living with the consequences of the stupid things that we have done over time. I would say, I'm 42 years old, I would say that Obamacare, and hear me when I say this because I'm not an advocate for it, I think Obamacare is the most consequential legislation of my lifetime for all the wrong reasons. I think that it was a massive step to move towards single payer, and I think the Democrats knew in 2009 or 10, whenever they did this, I think they knew it would take a generation for it to metastasize and destroy itself, and I think they're so good at playing the long game, I can't stand it. For all the things you don't like about Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, those two individuals are pros. And they have always believed that taking the country towards socialized medicine and single-payer health care was the right thing to do. And I think they knew that this would be a house of cards that would eventually collapse, and the American people, including plenty on the right, and I will not be one of them. I don't care if I'm destitute. I'm not being like, I'm signing up for Obamacare. I think they always knew.
Yeah.
And I respect the hell out of that from a position of like, if it's this team or that team, like this is going to take 30 years. I promise you this gets where we're going. Man, Republicans do not play the long game like that at all. We are so bad at being like, I mean, look at what has happened I know there are persecuted Christians in Nigeria, and that's sad. Can I be honest with you? We have a hell of a lot of problems here. We're not facing religious persecution, but I know more about the world than probably 97% of people that live in it. I can't find Nigeria on a map. In the same way, like, what have you ever seen America get involved in the last 50 years? Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. What's worked out? I name one. And like, these are like, I'm a support the troops guy. I'm a, if you want to give them, bonuses to make it look good on Christmas, like it's $1,776. I'm good with it. Man, I am super skeptical of our own party right now. And I wish it was I wish I felt differently about that. And I disagree but I can tell people why I disagree with, that's my big fear with MAGA is that they can't tell you why they're in favor of something beyond, well, he likes it. And that is such a dangerous game to play because it always, as you've seen, like Donald Trump still thinks you care about 2020, and maybe plenty of you do. But I'm telling you, it ain't enough to win an election. And that's why I'm like, you always have to be super versatile with how things transpire and break out.
The next few years are going to continue to be cleaning up the mess from the Biden administration, but then what?
Well, and that's the thing. I feel like when you talk about, when people say, and we're good at this on the right, the Democrats are a rudderless ship, what's their message in 2026? If people in the middle class and below, if that middle class continues to shrink, they're not going to have a message. In the same way that when Trump won in 2024, like, what was his message? I don't want boys to play in girls' sports, and I want to seal the border. Like, he wasn't making big, broad leaps, and he came in and sealed the border on day one. But the right thing to do is to really evaluate why. And I think there are plenty of Democrats that see pieces of his agenda working. I think Trump, if he really wanted to carve out a pathway to immigration, we've talked about this in America for 40 years. I think he's got John Fetterman and 8 others where he could potentially actually get something meaningful across the line. And he killed it when Biden had his deal, and it was a political issue. Man, I want to stop being that country. Jerry Payne, coming up, we got sports.
Yes.
In the great state of Georgia on Extra 106.3. We will be right back.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan and driven to Extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for Friday, December 26th. From the NFL, a trio of Christmas Day games saw the Dallas Cowboys win in Washington against the Commanders, 30-23. The Detroit Lions visited the Vikings with Minnesota claiming victory 23-10. Denver Broncos won in Kansas City, beating the Chiefs 20-13. Week 17 continues with a pair of games on Saturday. Houston travels to San Diego, and the Green Bay Packers host the Ravens. Then a full slate of games on Sunday, and the Falcons host the LA Rams Monday night at home at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. From the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs beat the first-place Oklahoma City Thunder on Christmas Day in their second meeting this week. The final 117-102. Trae Young and the Hawks are back in action tonight, looking to break a 4-game losing streak. They host the visiting Miami Heat at State Farm Arena. Tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. With your sports headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Christmas is over, so why not get what you really wanted? Jaron Solomon here, and now is the time to treat yourself to the perfect piece at Solomon Brothers Jewelers, because you deserve it. Or maybe your New Year's resolution is to make someone else's dream come true with the perfect engagement ring. Or Valentine's Day with a gift that says it all. No matter what you are shopping for, we have 3 Atlanta locations in Buckhead, Alpharetta, and Sharpsburg and endless ways to celebrate you and the ones you love. Don't forget to head to the website at SolomonBrothers.com to check out the clearance page to get the absolute best deals on the styles we simply bought too much of for 2025. And with our low price guarantee and flexible financing, luxury has never been more accessible. Solomon Brothers Jewelers, helping Atlanta say I do since 1982.
Faith, family, freedom. These are the cornerstones of America and the foundation for a successful life. But today, all three are under attack. Crushing debt, out-of-control spending, and reckless policies in Washington are threatening your savings, your retirement, and your future. Hi, this is Glenn Beck. The only financial advisory firm I recommend in Atlanta is Nicholas Wealth Management. David Nicholas and his team believe protecting your money is about more than wealth. It's about defending your faith, your family, and your freedom. If your hard-earned retirement is left exposed to market chaos, higher taxes, or inflation, what happens to the life you've worked so hard to build? For over 20 years, David Nicholas has helped families right here in Atlanta fight back with retirement strategies built to better withstand uncertainty. Call Nicholas Wealth Management today, 404-890-5606, or visit nicholaswealth.com. Aim to safeguard your future today.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. Glenn Beck is not a client and is paid for his endorsement.
Hi, it's Los, here with Tom Mitchell, the honest car guy. Tom, you are changing the way people are buying their next pre-owned car or truck. How are you doing it?
You know, Los, we found a better way for customers to buy a car. An honest way, a very transparent way. You pay what we pay plus our honest fee.
How do you prove that?
We even prove it to you by giving you a copy of the bill of sale at the end of the deal.
How much can people save when they buy their next vehicle with the honest car guy?
I've saved people upwards of $20,000 and $30,000. I mean, it really depends on the year, the make, the model of the car, and the price of the car. You know, on a $15,000 car, I can't save you $20,000. We can probably save you $2,000 or $3,000. But it's through the course of the whole sale. The big one here that people don't realize, the financing. You go into the dealership, they tell you your rate's 9%. Well, really, it's probably 7% because they're allowed to make 2 points on there. The honest car guy, you'll save an average of $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the price of the car.
Folks, if you want to save thousands on your next pre-owned car or truck, try the honest car guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or honestcarguy.com.
Atlanta Braves single game tickets for the 2026 season are now on sale. Get your tickets for some exciting NL East matchups next season, plus great series against the Red Sox, Cubs, Dodgers, and more. And snag the first giveaway of the season, the Drake Baldwin Rookie of the Year bobblehead presented by Coca-Cola on March 31st during the opening homestand.
Baldwin sends one soaring, got a shot, and that is out of here.
And fans can also look forward to the return of some popular ticket packages, including Hello Kitty, Girls Night Out, and Father's Day Catch on the Field, which includes a 20-minute session on the field after the game to play catch. And the Braves are excited to also announce some brand new ticket packages honoring pop culture icons SpongeBob and Snoopy. And it's never too soon to plan your group outing. Great seats and hospitality spaces are also on sale. So visit Braves.com/promos to see more details and purchase your tickets. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves Country.
From the latest breaking news to the conservative voices you know and trust, your best new follow on social media is Extra 1063. We're at XTRA 1063 on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and LinkedIn, and pretty much any social media you scroll through every day. And we drop exclusive giveaways, new daily content, and the latest breaking news from Georgia and across this great nation. Interact with your favorite Extra personalities. Get the latest on our live events and so much more. Follow at Extra 1063 across all your social media and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice.
Welcome back to the Morning Extra. My name is Ben Burnett. You can catch me on the weekends, 2 o'clock on Sunday. No, hell, I did it wrong. 2 o'clock on Saturday, noon on Sunday. Just whenever you get around to it. You can find me anytime at the podcast park or on the Extra 1063 app. Tug and Los will be back at the beginning of the new year. So they turned over the reins. Jerry, we've made it through an hour, and I feel like
it always flies.
Not only is it in one piece, it might be the best show that has ever taken place here.
We're halfway to the best show that's ever happened.
Yeah.
On these airways.
That's really. I'm really good through the first quarter and a half.
Falls apart in the end.
Yeah, not so much the conditioning in the late innings gets me.
I've seen you taking enough caffeine this morning. I know we're gonna land this plane.
That's not true. I'm like halfway done with my cup of coffee.
That's enough.
So one of the interesting things that I look at, I think we get wrong. We talked in the last segment about the state of Georgia and the Republican desire to get rid of tax subsidies for certain projects. And there was a really, really interesting one that dropped last week. Everybody knows about the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, who is it torn ACL or a broken leg?
Yeah, it's torn ACL, I believe.
And he'll be back in time for August. We wish him a speedy recovery because he's really fun to watch. And he may be the most fun guy to watch. And he was really the shining star on the hill in Kansas City until a certain tight end started dating a certain global icon. And, Patrick Mahomes is probably grateful that he got a little bit of his life back when Taylor Swift decided she was going to become like a part-time resident of Kansas City. And I think it's interesting because they're kind of tough economic times with respect to, how you feel and how I feel going around on a daily basis. The Kansas City Chiefs, what was the total on? The Kansas City Chiefs are embarking on a $3.3 billion project that not only moves the stadium location from Kansas City, Missouri, to a affluent suburb of Kansas City, Kansas. Can you imagine if the Atlanta Braves, like we talk about this here and there, like Fulton County had no idea that Cobb County, under the cover of darkness, put together a deal for the Battery, which is where we sit, where 680 The Fan sits, restaurants, concerts. I bet there's something going on here 200 days a year.
Oh, yeah, more than that.
More than that? Like sizable. So 225, 230.
Yeah, the Roxy next door has something every single night.
The Roxy, it is December 26th, and the Roxy has an event this evening.
Oh, yeah.
Who in there? Well, there are three people. I mean, there's probably five people in this studio between our station and the other station. And I just say it's really super successful. The Battery has been super successful, and the naysayers that existed, like the people who threw Tim Lee, the county commissioner here, out of office, like they were Republicans who rose up and like voted all the people who did this Braves deal out of office. This is one of the best real estate deals in the history of the entire state of Georgia. I don't have to drive into inner city Atlanta anymore in a not nice part of town. And I read this. I read in maybe the Marietta Daily Journal that the Braves are taking in so much money off of parking and
they get a piece of everything in here. Every drink that's sold in here, every meal that's sold in here.
And it's to the point that the taxpayers aren't on the hook for the bonds any longer. They were always going to be reimbursed. But the deal that Cobb County cut was like, if you rent a car in Cobb County, they were volunteering their 3% sales tax. Well, if you live in Cobb County, you're probably not renting a car. Mm-hmm. So you're sticking it to somebody else. And if you're staying in a hotel in Cobb County, it's probably not the place that you live. You look at the Battery. They've got an Omni. There's a couple of other hotels that are right off the property that are inside that loop. I mean, what a deal for this community. And so I'm a tax and spend liberal, I guess. No, I'm kidding. But I'm the guy who I believe you got to figure out. I love local government because they figure out how to move mountains. If you ask Congress to relocate the Kansas City Chiefs, they would be like, well, what are they going to feed? What are they going to feed them inside the stadium? And is it an allergy-free environment? I mean, it would be. There's no end to what they would do in Congress. So Kansas, moving across the state line, has a $3.3 billion bond. They're going to have a mixed-use development as a part of that. That's going to be kind of sit in a district to do the same thing. They've taken this battery playbook, which is the first, and I won't say it's the best because there are other things that'll come along and do it. But like the days of Fenway Park and Wrigley Field, they don't exist anymore because these companies, these franchises have realized that you can put the real estate in a trust, you can list it on the stock market, and it is a casino as far as making money. So you can actually own a piece of the part of the Braves.
Yeah, I forget what the ticker is, but you can get stock in the Braves.
It's like BAT1 or it's something, BAT.A or something like that. But it is a wildly unique thing to see how things, even though it's hard for you. Governments, man, when they want to figure out how to get somewhere, and like I'm pulling for Kansas because like people don't know that Kansas City is actually 85% in Missouri. It's not mostly in Kansas. Mm-hmm. And for them, and by the way, Kansas is the kind of similar to the Battery. It's like we're a lot closer to the rich people if we move out here. Don't think that they weren't thinking the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm excited to see what ultimately happens with the stadium, but I can't imagine the war that has ensued over moving across a state line. It's like it was bad enough moving across a county line.
Yeah, that's the thing that surprises me is it's going across state lines. There's a lot of smoky back rooms there.
I like it. This is Extra 106.3. We'll be right back.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Taking the easy way out with this one, stealing a column from John Hawkins, who in turn stole it from Wilford Riley. But it's fun, so let's go. 25 crazy things that liberals believe. Number 1, people can literally choose to change their sex the same way they can choose which station they're going to watch on TV. Next, Americans should feel uniquely guilty over the nearly universal practice of slavery. This is like feeling as if you live in the worst nation on earth because there has been crime in your society before. And by the way, there's not one person listening to me right now that's not descended from slaves. So you're not that special. Next, simultaneously, left-wingers believe that there shouldn't be billionaires, but at the same time, they believe that billionaires should pay for all social welfare programs. Next, liberals believe that women get paid less than men for the same work. Of course, if that were really true, all female companies would dominate because they would have cheaper workforces that produce just as much as any other company. Liberals believe that they're the tolerant, compassionate good guys on the right side of history, and they prove it by accusing regular people who disagree with them of being Nazis, calling for violence, and publicly celebrating the deaths of their political enemies. And let me squeeze this one in there. Liberals want things like health care to be run cheaply and efficiently, so to keep the country happy, liberals need to put the government in charge of these things. That's why everybody prefers to deal with the post office and the DMV instead of private corporations like Walmart and Amazon. Wait, are we describing liberals or fat white women? Well, anyway, Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
Holiday strike. I'm Angelo Bavaro, Fox News. The U.S. launching military force on ISIS sites in Nigeria on Christmas.
President Trump taking the action due to the persecution and killing of Christians in that country. The president writing on Truth Social that, quote, I have previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there would be hell to pay. And tonight, there was. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth posting on X that, quote, the president was clear last month. The killing of innocent Christians in Nigeria must end. The Department of War is always ready. So ISIS found out tonight, on Christmas. More to come. The U.S. government has been discussing the issue with the Nigerian government, threatening to cut off aid to the country if the situation is not fixed. Kevin Ureski, Fox News.
Severe weather slamming both sides of the country.
The number of winter storm watches are multiplying throughout the northeastern U.S. The National Weather Service is warning of a snow and ice storm that is expected to blast through the Northeast, impacting at least 15 million people. Meanwhile, Southern California is getting soaked. Heavy rain has already caused flooding and mudslides in Los Angeles County and beyond. And now another powerful storm system could bring more of the same to areas that are already inundated.
Fox's Mike Emanuel. The New York City area is expected to see between 5 to 8 inches of snow from Friday night into Saturday morning. Turkish authorities say they apprehended a suspected member of the extremist Islamic State group who was planning attacks on New Year's celebrations. State media in Turkey reporting that man was captured in a joint operation carried out by police and the National Intelligence Agency. Security officials say that man was in contact with many IS sympathizers in Turkey and was also looking for a chance to join the ongoing fighting in conflict zones. America is listening to Fox News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-393-1881. That's 800-393-1881. 800-393-1881.
You may have seen the Bortz billboard all across town. Let everyone know Bortz is back and his new home is Extra 106.3.
This is just a classic by any stretch of the imagination. You're on it today, dude. You big fan?
I wouldn't call myself a big fan, but I mean, I just remember this music video back when music videos were a thing. And this is the one with all the crazy animation, right? The black and white cartoon.
It is.
And I love the drum breakdown in the chorus on this.
I really liked when Weezer, I guess it was during COVID, redid a bunch of classic 80s songs in like different places. It might be the best record they ever did.
Yeah. The covers album. They did this. They did Africa by Toto.
Yeah.
So good.
And sometimes I'll just turn it up. So good.
In the high note.
Can you hit it? This is like a Jimmy Fallon, expertise. I want to talk about our boy. We made him a villain on the right for a long time. I'm not going to say he was a good guy because he's not I don't think he would say he was a great guy. Christmas Eve, Sean Ryan, a former Navy SEAL and podcast extraordinary, he's got a following that is he's not my favorite. I'll get that out of the way. But you can't take any, like when people do things that are at a really high level, you can't take anything away from them. He had Hunter Biden on his show, and they talked for 5 hours, and I've probably seen a third of it. And I've got all the clips I'll show you on the media, but I've really watched probably it's probably I guess a third, an hour and a half, 2 hours, plus all the like greatest hits clips that they carve out for you. And he was, granted, he's working on like an image rehabilitation tour, so I'll that's for free. If you think that he's just coming out of the kindness of his heart, he's not. But I have to tell you, he seemed like a pretty grounded and reasonable, probably not a guy I agree with on, the macro social issues, but he didn't seem to me like he was the enemy Matt Gaetz made him out to be for 2 or 3 years, where it was like, there's the laptop. Jerry, what'd you think?
So I saw just a few of the greatest hits clips that came out, and what struck me, and I'd have to go watch the full thing, he denied that there ever was a laptop.
He did deny that there was ever a laptop.
But I've seen a lot of pictures. I've seen a lot of Hunter Biden. I've seen things about Hunter Biden and of Hunter Biden that I never wanted to see.
Well, I don't know.
Like Skittles.
I don't know what websites you're checking out, but that's a different story for a different show. I thought he was pretty he didn't take any hardline stances that I just radically didn't see coming. It's a precarious spot because your father was the sitting United States president, and there's only been 46 of them. Right? There's not a lot of people in American history that have done that or grown up in that household. And I was talking to Tug Cowart, who, Monday through Friday, 6 to 10, you can find here on the Morning Xtra. I'm in his stead today, along with Los. I was texting with Tug last night, and you know how Tug is. Tug is, screw that guy. There's nothing, you didn't learn anything. He's a terrible person. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm a little more like, I'll take anybody. You know what I mean? I'm not going to just write you off. And there's value in both. And he said, that guy created so many problems under his own volition. And I said, yes, he did, Tug. And he had a father who was one of 100 people in America, seeking extraordinarily high political office for a long time. And he had a mother that died when he was essentially a toddler. And there is no privilege that you can ever have like growing up with a mother who loves you. And he said, I cannot disagree with that at all. I said, asking that dude to be normal, privilege is one thing. And it was the biggest reason I saw how people treated me in locally elected office, having little kids who were getting to be school age. And I was like, I don't know if I want that for them. Because there's a ton of value in being a regular walking around middle class dude who's got a job or owns a small business, and you're kind of out of the limelight. You're not, even if it's locally, sometimes that pressure of doing that could be worse, because I think everybody knows if Hunter Biden walks into a restaurant here at the Battery, everybody knows who Hunter Biden is, and I think the majority of people are probably leaving him alone. Whereas they might just come talk to you or whatever if you're at home. And I was like, I don't really know if I want that. All the stuff I said in the earlier segment about the flock cameras and the surveillance state of law enforcement in America, I'm against them. I've had that used against me and been like, that's the guy who doesn't support the cops. I was like, hang on, people. But America is funny, man. In the Fox News poll at the hour, it was 75% of Republicans feel like the country is on a track that they can see where there's light. You know what I mean? And then 75% of the Democrats feel the exact opposite way. Both of those things cannot be true. And I'm not saying we're right. I'm saying both of those things that is not, somebody's wrong in some fashion, right? I remember watching Charlie Kirk talking about emerging from COVID when he was really getting to be the hands and feet of the outreach campaign for Trump 2024. And he said, I took leveraged positions in the triple Qs, which is a giant, it's not a hedge fund, but it's a mutual fund of essentially like the top 30 technology stocks in America. And he said, I bet the house, because either I wasn't going to be here anymore, but the media was asking me to bet against America. Come on. Like, this place, we figure stuff out. And I think that there is a lot of, to the tune that 75% of people don't feel good and 75% of people feel great. I don't know if either. I'm more of the 75%. I feel like there are things that can improve, but I feel like America is in a pretty decent place. And, you know, I just said that to say, when I take that attitude and watch Hunter Biden, I get that Hunter Biden grew up without a mom. And I get that Hunter Biden grew up in a house with a really motivated political father figure. And he can say, I was in all the meetings, he was around all the time. BS, dude. There's no way that both of those things are true, because the obligations that your father had to travel around the world and represent the United States, that was real. And you and your brother, I'm sure, did the best you could and were great friends, and one of you made a bunch of really bad decisions. I just think it'd be really hard for that guy to ever be normal.
I think my question would be, in the course of making all of those bad decisions, very publicly making bad decisions, it wasn't a secret that Hunter Biden was...
And hell, he didn't hide from it.
Right. No. And he never faced consequences. He never faced... Well, he didn't face the same consequences that anybody else faces. Consequences that you would face or I would face if our dad wasn't a senator or the vice president. So that's where people have, the lack of sympathy for him.
I want to get into some of the clips, Jerry. We pulled a couple of them. Talk about the audio.
Okay, so here is Hunter Biden. This is him talking about the Epstein files and kind of where we sit with that.
Why did Joe Biden not demand the release of the Epstein files if it was such a big deal to Democrats?
I don't know.
The same reason that Joe Biden didn't demand that they drop the prosecution of me. Because he didn't involve himself with the Department of Justice. Because as every other president before him, other than Richard Nixon, who resigned because of it, he didn't direct the Department of Justice to do one thing or another. Why didn't Merrick Garland do it? Guess as good as mine. I don't know.
He doesn't know.
So let me just put it to you this way. Hunter Biden... America is a place where we're willing to get after each other.
Yeah.
With the lawfare state. And that has happened to Trump. I have very little doubt that Hunter Biden did a lot of really bad things. I think Hunter Biden was wrong for pretty much everything. I mean, a jury of his peers found him guilty. I don't have to wonder if he was wrong. They said he was wrong. But if Hunter Biden is not Joe Biden's son in 2025 and he's just like a board member guy or whatever, you think that's a thing or no? Or you think he's just living free, there were no consequences?
No, he's under the jail if he's not Joe Biden's son.
You think he is?
Yes.
See, I don't even know if they'd indict him. I think that was part of the thing where I was like, I'm not a Hunter Biden sympathizer. Like, he's got a 55, I won't say 55 because he's 55 now. He's got a 45-year career as a human being of making pretty terrible decisions. But I also think, we talked about Fulton County earlier. You look at Delaware as a blue state. And by the way, Delaware's, their Democrats don't necessarily look like me either. You got Joe Biden, but it's got some diversity in the sense of how the Democrats like to use the word diversity.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you, man, I don't know if his dad's not a public figure, if he ever sees the indictment in the first place. But neither here nor there. He reaches the plea deal, right? And I have to wonder, and then it gets thrown out because it wasn't tough enough. And Joe Biden didn't interfere with that plea deal because he was like, I think he knew, even when he said in the debates, if your son Hunter was found guilty, would you pardon him? No. That was nothing about what Hunter Biden just said about interfering. Joe Biden didn't have to interfere because he knew what was going to happen at the end of his term. He knew that his baby boy was never going to prison. Mm-hmm. And like, you want to talk about a streak of fluke luck to be born as one of 7 billion people, get indicted, found guilty, get sentenced to prison, and then have the jury or the judge set your date of when you're supposed to report to federal prison. And by the way, your dad happened to lose the presidential election. And one of the final acts is that he pardons his baby boy. And honestly, as much as I would like to look at my kids if they did something like that and they got federally convicted, I don't know that I wouldn't have done the same exact thing.
Of course.
I don't know how you answer that in the press to make that sound like you're going to, no, of course he'll face justice. It's like, man, if I had anything to do to help my kids, I won't even say like wife, but kids are they're a different thing, because the wife, it depends on what the crime is. Babies are flesh and blood. There's a different loyalty when they're 50% of your DNA. I really don't, but I thought, man, he is so good at answering questions because he said all that with conviction. And unless you're like me or you and you listen to this and be like, BS.
Yeah, the clips that I've seen, he seems more clear-headed. I think he's been off the sauce or off everything. Does he talk about sobriety and how long he's been sober?
He said the thing that really upset him, and I don't blame him, was when you remember when they found a bunch of cocaine in the White House, and they were like, well, Hunter's been there. Hunter said, he goes, the most hurtful thing, part of that whole thing was like when I really started to face the persecution in the Department of Justice and all that stuff. He's like, I've been sober on this day right now for 6 years. And he said, I'm not the kind of addict where I could go to rehab again. If I relapse, it is over. He goes, it will be a catastrophic event in my life. I can't do that. And he said, so the hurtful thing was saying, guys, I've actually been cleaned up for a long time. He goes, and then after you get clean, you got to go through all this stuff?
That's the story with every addict you ever heard of. I mean, everybody who's sober, if there's somebody, there's always that suspicion, of like, there's always the, I hope they don't fall off.
Yeah. Well, look, I don't.
And when a bag of cocaine shows up in the White House and you're publicly known
as the party animal,
crackhead son of the president, yeah, people are going to ask questions. So I'm sorry your feelings were hurt, but that's the life you chose.
Well, he wasn't. I thought it was really.
And I'm not sure that I'm not 100% sure that I believe him.
I don't believe him either. However, when you get further into the interview, he starts talking about Sean Ryan, who I actually like the podcast crew at the moment, because everybody during the 2024 cycle, the Democrats said, well, these are just right-leaning, crazy podcasters. Well, Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan are not by any stretch of the imagination like the beacon of the conservative movement.
And I'll tell you, Sean Ryan isn't afraid to call people out on the right.
Well, he does.
Yeah.
And he talks, the first thing they got into, I wish we had pulled the clip of this, of Dan Crenshaw, where he's like, Hunter said, I've seen your dust up with Dan Crenshaw. And he said, I don't think he's dumb enough to actually sue you, because he's a public official, which means you can't say anything. Well, you can about me because I'm sitting on the radio, so I'm technically a public person. But if Mike McKee out there you can't just say anything you want to. You can say anything you want to about him, but he has the ability to just sue you. Well, if Dan Crenshaw is a public persona, you can say anything you want about him without real fear of consequences as an elected official. And that also means opinions that you don't. And Hunter said, I just don't know what's up Crenshaw's ass. Because if he sues you and you get into discovery and depositions, he's like, I promise you, if there is smoke around that guy, he does not want to give somebody with your money and your resources the ability to ask any question you want under oath. He's like, I don't get why these people don't figure that out. He's like, Crenshaw's got to be smarter than that. But neither here. Roll the clip about Epstein.
This is Sean Ryan.
The Epstein files. Yeah. We've been talking about this for I don't know how many years now. And Trump was a big part of that. And the Republican Party was a big part of that. Well, now we got the presidency, we got the House, and we got the Senate. And we still have 0 Epstein files. You know, I sat right across from the current director of the FBI and listened to him spew lie after lie after lie to me, not even realizing he was going to get director of the FBI while he's sitting in front of me. Yeah. But he did get it, and he told us all what he was going to do if he did get it. I don't see anything. I don't see any differences.
And to be honest with you, Republican friends, I don't think many of us do either. I think the biggest sham of the whole Epstein thing was that people were convinced that it was going to be different when the Trump administration got his people in there. And you've heard Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. I think when they were doing interviews early or before they really came into the administration, President Trump never had any intention whatsoever of doing anything other than what has actually happened. And we talked about the podcast crew on the right and how they're not really actually on, they're not left or right. They're just kind of objective people. Like, if you want to say that Sean Ryan is conservative leaning, I believe that. Decorated military war hero, unbelievable business guy. I'm positive he doesn't agree with the Democrats on taxation, just based on what I know about that I can publicly find. But there are so many of us that, and I think it's most of the people in this audience, that look at things in the current form and they're like, this is not where I live. This is not what I voted for, and this is not what I signed up for. And Hunter goes on to be like, it's hard to disagree with anything you said. And nothing was going to get released because Donald Trump's all over all that stuff too. And if you don't think there's smoke, and where there's smoke, there's fire. And the fact that we had this congressional act and the president threatened everybody, got into it with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and all those other people. And good for those ladies for standing up and being like, no, this is what the American people want. It's a two-tiered justice system in every sense of the word. Mm-hmm. And that's what I have because I don't feel like I live in an America where it's the left versus the right. I think I live in an America where it's a select few and everybody else. And I think that is, and if the Democrats want to hate on Trump over how he's handled the release of these files, look, Donald Trump is Teflon. You could say pretty much anything about him and he can survive it. But the fact that he has whitewashed plenty of it and slow rolled the release and all this stuff, with respect to something like this, I don't think he's any damn different than anybody else. And that, to me, is the part that sucks about what's going on in America.
I think the people that he put in charge, the Kash Patels and the Dan Bonginos, I think they got into that machine and realized, even though I'm at the top of this thing, I can't dismantle it. I think there's still plenty of people there that are actively covering up for people in the past, say whoever you want.
I think that's why Dan Bongino said, I'm miserable. Yep. I want out.
I'm out of here.
Guess what happened in the first time of the Trump administration? Granted, there were a lot more people who looked and acted more like me as a mainstream Republican that surrounded him. None of those people. I want to know what Dan Bongino has to say after he gets on the other side of this, because I promise you, if it's not good, it's going to be real bad.
Yeah, I don't know when he's back on the air. I think he's going to come back on in January. That'll be highly watched. High ratings for those.
And he's not my guy either. I'm watching to see what he has to say.
Heck yeah.
Coming up, we're going to keep it right here. We're going to talk more about Jeffrey Epstein. We're going to talk a lot more about Hunter Biden, Jerry's boy. This is Extra 106.3. We'll be right back.
The Morning Extra from 6 to 10. Glenn Beck until noon. Clay and Buck from noon to 3. And the Kimmer Show on your ride home from 3 to 6. Plus Jesse Kelly from 6 to 9. And Jimmy Vela from 9 to midnight. The voices you need all day with the conservative voice of Atlanta. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
I'm Michelle Stovall, and our company has been family-owned and operated for 75 years. Check us out at StovallINC.com, or better yet, stop by our newly opened 11th store at 9500 Union Hill Road in Canton. At Stovall, we supply you with all your landscaping project needs, completely hassle-free down to delivery. Been dreaming of an outdoor kitchen, fireplace, or other custom paver project? We partner with Keystone Hardscapes for all your beautiful high-end concrete needs. We look forward to making your landscape dreams come true. Stovall has it all.
Hey guys and girls, if you're losing your hair and you're like me, you need a simple solution that works. You want the best modern technology with top-rated physicians. Something that's guaranteed to work, and that is Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair gave me my hairline back and has completely redefined hair restoration from the experience itself to their unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, address them all with a simple one-day treatment and a calm, relaxed atmosphere with the most experienced professionals. Tens of thousands, including me, have received Advanced Hair's breakthrough treatment, and get this, your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day. No one else in Atlanta can offer the Advanced FUE found at Advanced Hair. Fix hair loss today, starting with your free consultation. You're also going to get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. You want to make that call right now. 470-660-HAIR. Refine your hairline with the team that's redefined hair restoration. 470-660-HAIR or AdvancedHair.com. That's AdvancedHair.com.
With the holiday season upon us, convenience is king. At RBM of Atlanta, we embody this definition. Convenience is our middle name. Meet the RBM of Atlanta Mercedes-Benz pickup and delivery service. It gives you back time and money. Does your Mercedes-Benz need service? If so, we'll pick up your vehicle that's requiring service from your home or office and bring it back to our dealership for those services. And once the services have been complete, we'll bring your Mercedes-Benz back to you. With over 100 appointments available every weekday, over 50 appointments on Saturdays, and more than 200 courtesy vehicles in our fleet, we're here to serve. We'll work around your schedule. We're here to save you time, energy, and money. RBM of Atlanta is a J.D. Power 2025 Diamond Dealer of Excellence for the customer sales experience. And we're proud to be Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964. Pickup and delivery service restrictions do apply. Ask your service coordinator or service advisor at RBM of Atlanta for details.
Thousands of veterans across Georgia are missing out on the benefits they've earned through their service. The Warrior Alliance is changing that by connecting veterans and their families to life-changing resources and support. Tune into the Warrior Alliance Network, our podcast and radio show dedicated to helping veterans succeed after service. Join us every Saturday at 11 a.m. on 106.3 to hear inspiring veteran stories, discover free programs, and learn about career opportunities available to you. Subscribe to the Warrior Alliance YouTube channel today.
Did you wake up this morning, put your feet on the floor, and you just wanted to pick them right back up because the floor was freezing cold? Well, that can be changed if the air in your house is really, really cold. Let me introduce you to Chuck and his team at Central Heating and Air Conditioning, because they can make the perfect temperature. They can create it in your home with a brand new Carrier system. It's the perfect time to upgrade your comfort. For a limited time, you get $2,100 in rebates and 60 months, 0% financing with approved credit. You get both. Brand new Carrier system, dependable, efficient, and delivers that comfort that your family deserves. And Lord, I know this time of year they won't. Central and Carrier, they set the standard in cooling and heating for over 3 generations. Now your chance to bring that comfort to your house and the best savings of the season. Again, up to $2,100 in rebates and 60 months, 0% financing with approved credit. How do you get it? Call Chuck and his team at 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com.
Fox on Tech.
The thirst to be connected all day, every day is driving the need for large data centers, huge buildings housing row upon row of servers that process the transfer of information at lightning speeds. Casey Timmons, Meta's global site ops director, says the demand is showing no signs of slowing down.
I've been in the industry for over 20 years, and I've never seen the focus on data centers like we have now.
Data companies are focusing on rural areas across the country that have the space. In Newton County, Georgia, Amazon is building a data center on a 500-acre piece of land that some local residents are not happy about. People like Lisa Miller, who says it needs more time and planning.
Don't just stick them in every cow pasture that goes up for sale, right?
But a growing number of city and county leaders say the upside of jobs, tax revenue, and a boost to the local economy is just too good to turn down. With Fox on Tech, Ashley Webster, Fox Business.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
It's Friday, December 26th. The Smyrna City Council unanimously approved a $5.7 million contract to add 70 new flock safety cameras and license plate readers to the city's public safety network. The expansion includes 2 drones and will be paid over a 10-year period to boost police response and resource use. Council members said the additional technology is meant to improve response times and support public safety. Cherokee County commissioners have approved the purchase of the ball ground gym for $350,000 as part of a recreation expansion plan. The county plans to update the facility, improve the lighting at Lions Field, convert tennis courts to pickleball courts, and pave the parking lot. Ball ground will still have access for city events, but Cherokee County Recreation and Parks will manage the gym and programming. And Georgia now ranks 6th in the nation for total grocery spending, with residents spending more on groceries than most other states. A recent study shows the state's collective food purchases remain high as household food costs continue to rise. Today's weather, partly cloudy with a high of 68. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
And you know it's 68 degrees outside this afternoon because Ben Burnett, wore shorts into the office here at the Battery.
And flip-flops.
And flip-flops. That's pretty standard. I have two uniforms. One is this one, if you're on YouTube, at Extra 106.3 or the Morning Xtra. He just hit the button to turn my beautiful face back on. I could see what he was doing. And then I'll wear jeans and cowboy boots. And unless I'm going to run or whatever, if you see me in shoes, I've been kidnapped. I'm not a
very Florida lifestyle of you.
I grew up in Hawaii. It's still very much. I saw all my friends on the Facebook and the Instagram this weekend, and was like, you know what? Our weather today is actually kind of like it is out there. It was beautiful. I want to draw it back to Hunter Biden for just a minute. And there was I think the best part of the Sean Ryan interview, and this is like where I believe more of Hunter's, I would say, testimony. I believe more of his interview than I don't. But I don't believe the whole thing, and you don't believe the whole thing. I thought when he talked about his father's withdrawal from Afghanistan, I thought that was extremely honest.
Nobody can look at that and say that it was a success.
And I agree with that. And the thing I fight with Tug and Lowe sometimes about, how did you want it to look? Like, what does this... That was always going to be a disaster, no matter when anybody left. We had so much stuff over there. This is like the unpopular thing to say, but I'm not convinced I'm wrong.
There's a way to remove a lot of that equipment, get it out there on time, get it out of there on time. Don't let it fall into their hands. And then also, there's a way to get out of there and keep security, so you don't have 13 Marines get killed.
That is the inexcuse of everything you just said. That's the one thing. It was like, God, how did you guys not plan this first? Like, how do we get everybody out so that we're not like exiting somewhere we've been for 2 decades and we lose anybody else? Because when you look at the 20th century, and I'm not putting down the people who serve in the least, because it's not them. They go do what they're told to do. But when you look at the last 20 years in between Iraq and Afghanistan, man, that is a giant shot. You can't convince me that America doesn't want back. It was a mountain of money. Plenty of the people who came home with addiction issues, were never fine. And the thing I love about Trump is I think that, except last night with whatever's happening in Nigeria, I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. I feel like he's pretty calculated. I don't think he wants to just start a war. You look at what's going on with Venezuela and the embargo on naval vessels. I saw yesterday that they're chasing one down.
Well, Nigeria's an easy... I mean, yes, okay, you go and you take care of people who need to be taken care, like
drone them out of the sky.
Just take down the people who are persecuting Christians and killing innocent people over there. Who in the world, like what war would it start for somebody to come back and throw a punch back at America? It's not going to happen.
It was but I would say it's kind of the same. What was the goal in Afghanistan?
Protect poppy fields, as far as I can see.
I kind of look at them. I'm sure they're different geographic places, but I look at that. I was like, there is nothing.
That is where empires historically have gone to fail, to crumble.
Afghanistan, or
yes, Afghanistan.
I was like, or Nigeria. Either one.
Afghanistan. Nations go in there because the terrain is such that they're in these tunnels and these mountains.
Putin, for all the things we don't like about Vladimir Putin, he told George W. Bush, that is where you guys, there's just no getting out in one piece. It's not, trust me, we did this for a long time. And at that point, they were a very different Russia than they are today. Mm-hmm. And he straight up told America, he's like, you're going to regret that.
But they could have exited from there without it being the disaster that it was. There was a better way to do that. That was the plan. Trump was always saying, we are getting out of there. And then when Biden got into office, it seems like they scrapped all the plans that Trump had because, Orange Man planned this, so we can't do it now.
Yeah, we can't do it this way. And to me, that was not like, I think exiting was never, I think everybody wanted to exit. I don't think that was a political disagreement that America had with one another. I think that was where everybody was on the same page, but I don't know, could it have been better? I'm sure you're right.
Yes.
I don't necessarily know that it would have been some like flawless, everybody, they had a parade and we left and nobody cared anything about it. But the Middle East is a vastly different place today than it was in 2001. I do know that. And we caused a lot.
We blew a lot of stuff up.
We blew a lot of stuff up. And they didn't fight the same way we did.
No.
Back to Hunter. I want to talk about Burisma. And I thought that Hunter was excellent in the fact that he said, in hindsight, I never should have been on the board.
He admitted that?
He did. He said, I never should have been on the board. And he said, there are two things I want to point out about the board. And for those of you who don't know, I know it's like a punchline. Burisma is a Ukrainian oil and natural gas company that supplies lots of natural gas to Europe.
$billion company.
Multi-billion-dollar. Yes.
So,
and then some.
How would he ever have gotten appointed there? What was his experience? How did he even land that? And then because it was the Ukrainian inspector that was saying, hey, there's a problem with this. And then Joe Biden got that guy fired. He held up the $1 billion that the U.S. was going to give. Do I have that straight?
They had the aid. Trump always used Trump. I don't know if he was right or wrong. Always used, this is before Hunter. Actually, it's probably not entirely before Hunter. The tail end of the Trump administration was when Hunter wound up on the board over there. I don't know if it was like a tea leaves, but it couldn't have been because Biden still was relatively anonymous. But I will say this. A lot of people, when you appoint boards, you'll see it here locally. When Brian Kemp gets done being the governor of the state of Georgia, he will be on the board of directors for Coca-Cola or UPS or giant construction company or a shipping manufacturer that does a lot. It's just how it goes, right? So I said that to say we do it too. Like, this is not like the Democrats just place people on boards. You look at Paul Ryan, former...
But that's within America. I can understand that. In the Ukraine, where it's known that money goes over there to be laundered and flushed out and just in all kinds of schemes,
well,
that's what bothers me is that it's foreign.
It's everywhere. Haley Barbour was the longtime governor of the state of Mississippi. He runs a group out of Washington, D.C. called BGR. When you see, here's how it ties back to Georgia and here's how it's overseas. When you look at the gambling companies that want to legalize sports gambling in Georgia, BGR is the preeminent gambling conglomerate that exists. DraftKings, FanDuel, whatever. They hire this guy to advocate in the state of Georgia because he's got the casinos. he also has foreign governments. Like, you have to register with FARA. There's any number of entities that are registered to lobby on behalf of another government inside the United States. And Haley Barbour, a governor I like, has a really, really successful shop in Washington, D.C., lobbies on behalf of foreign governments and their interests in the United States. I'm not saying he's on a board of directors for a foreign oil and gas pipeline, but I could argue that what they hire him to do with his sphere of influence around the Southeast, the country, and in Washington, D.C. specifically, it's not that different.
So what else did Hunter say about his time on the board at Burisma?
So he said there was never a pay-for-play. Hunter said there was never a pay-for-play scheme.
That was in the emails, the 10% for the big guy.
The 10%, which he also said never existed. He said, I never said that. I don't know. He said plenty of this stuff's doctored. That's one of those things you'll never know what was in. But at the end, he said, Sean Ryan says, do you regret that? He said, I never should have been there. If I look back, he's like, it's not that he said this. He said, it's not that I wasn't qualified to sit on that board of directors. I was plenty qualified to sit on that board of directors. That's one man's opinion. I don't know, Jack, you know what, about oil and natural gas pipelines, but I know I'm not qualified to go make international decisions with oligarchs about supplying the Eastern Europe and some of Russia with natural gas. But I also know that boards, if you go back to the earlier point about what Governor Kemp's going to wind up doing when he's outside, they have him on boards for influence and access. And I venture to guess that Hunter Biden knew a lot of people in the American sphere of politics, and I would say it was mostly on the left, but I'm sure some of it was on the right, that when you advocate for $1 billion for help of funding an expansion or a pipeline and 10% for the big guy, I don't know who the big guy was, but I definitely wouldn't have said that in an email. And I think that's one of the, look, it goes on every day. This is like the two-tiered justice system we talked about with the Epstein files that we'll never know.
It's interesting to me that he denies that he ever said that and everything, because those emails, I've always looked at them like, this is too good. This is almost too good to be true for Republicans and the right to point at. It's like, it goes back to what you were saying about Fulton County officials. It's, I think these people,
they're not good at anything.
Right. But how could they be that? So who in their right mind wants to get away with something in 2020 after the 21st century?
Call it 2019.
Yeah. And it's on record. All of that stuff. The internet is forever. We know this.
And that is the thing about getting into that world that really, truly scares me. But look, you donate to campaigns for access. The people who donate the big money donate for access. You can hate that. That is why it happens. If you go look at the people who are donating into a Georgia governor's race on both sides, they might not want anything specifically.
Yet.
They might never want anything specifically. But if somebody doesn't return a phone call, if you got a big enough business and you want to get the governor or the lieutenant governor or United States senator on the phone, sometimes it takes a nudge from the right person. And that's generally more often than not why those people do it. It's just, you can say that that's unfair because we don't have the ability to do that as little people. Man, that's the world. That is how it
works.
That is how it works. You can hate that or not. It is, Jerry, you got to go watch it. You'll believe half of it.
Put that on while I doze my afternoon nap today.
Oh, man. Coming back, we actually have some good news. And we're going to talk about where the Republicans need to go moving forward. And we will turn it over to Glenn Beck. This is Xtra 106.3, Atlanta's only news and conservative talk station. We will be right back.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to Xtra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for Friday, December 26th. From the NFL, a trio of Christmas Day games saw the Dallas Cowboys win in Washington against the Commanders 30-23. The Detroit Lions visited the Vikings with Minnesota claiming victory 23-10. Denver Broncos won in Kansas City, beating the Chiefs 20-13. Week 17 continues with a pair of games on Saturday. Houston travels to San Diego, and the Green Bay Packers host the Ravens. Then a full slate of games on Sunday, and the Falcons host the LA Rams Monday night at home at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. From the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs beat the first-place Oklahoma City Thunder on Christmas Day in their second meeting this week. The final 117-102. Trae Young and the Hawks are back in action tonight, looking to break a 4-game losing streak. They host the visiting Miami Heat at State Farm Arena. Tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. With your sports headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Christmas is over, so why not get what you really wanted? Jaron Solomon here, and now is the time to treat yourself to the perfect piece at Solomon Brothers Jewelers, because you deserve it. Or maybe your New Year's resolution is to make someone else's dream come true with the perfect engagement ring. Or Valentine's Day with a gift that says it all. No matter what you are shopping for, we have 3 Atlanta locations in Buckhead, Alpharetta, and Sharpsburg, and endless ways to celebrate you and the ones you love. Don't forget to head to the website at SolomonBrothers.com to check out the clearance page to get the absolute best deals on the styles we simply bought too much of for 2025. And with our low price guarantee and flexible financing, luxury has never been more accessible. Solomon Brothers Jewelers, helping Atlanta say I do since 1982.
Hey, Braves fans. Some things just get better with time, like your love for the Braves and banking with Truist One Checking. It's checking for life, offering everyday essentials like no overdraft fees and a tap-to-pay debit card. And great extras you'll appreciate season after season, like automatic upgrades as your balances grow. Be ready every inning with Truist One Checking. It's life-ready checking that grows with you. Get Truist One Checking today. Truist Bank. Member FDIC.
Don't believe this nonsense you see on TV commercials about how uncomfortable a CPAP mask is. Take it from me. You wear one, especially the nasal pillow I use, for one night, and you will fight anybody that tries to take it away from you. But if they do take it away from you, you can get more at cpapsetcetera.com, cpapsetc.com, with a store in Alpharetta, same-day shipping. To your health, cpapsetc.com.
Hi, it's Los, here with Tom Mitchell, the Honest Car Guy. Tom, you are changing the way people are buying their next pre-owned car or truck. How are you doing it?
You know, Los, we found a better way for customers to buy a car. An honest way, a very transparent way. You pay what we pay plus our honest fee.
How do you prove that?
We even prove it to you by giving you a copy of the bill of sale at the end of the deal.
How much can people save when they buy their next vehicle with the Honest Car Guy?
I've saved people upwards of $20,000 and $30,000. I mean, it really depends on the year, the make, the model of the car, and the price of the car. You know, on a $15,000 car, I can't save you $20,000. We can probably save you $2,000 or $3,000. But it's through the course of the whole sale. The big one here that people don't realize, the financing. You go into the dealership, they tell you your rate's 9%. Well, really, it's probably 7% because they're allowed to make 2 points on there. The Honest Car Guy, you'll save an average of $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the price of the car.
Folks, if you want to save thousands on your next pre-owned car or truck, try the Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or honestcarguy.com.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Get a great deal on a new Subaru and give back. It's really that easy. For every new Subaru bought or leased during the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru of Gwinnett will make a donation to national and local charities that our owners care about. The Subaru Share the Love event has supported more than 2,700 hometown charities, and by the end of our 18th year, Subaru and retailers like Subaru of Gwinnett will have donated more than $350 million to charity. It's the reason why we say Subaru of Gwinnett is more than a car dealer. We always go the extra mile for our community, and during the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event, you get a great vehicle and support a great cause. With every new Subaru purchased or leased, Subaru will donate $250 to your choice of charities. Additionally, for every Subaru vehicle routine visit during the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru of Gwinnett will donate $5 to our hometown charity. But it's only happening now through January 2nd, so hurry in to Subaru of Gwinnett, Satellite Boulevard in Duluth, and online at SubaruofGwinnett.com.
Georgia politicians, if you want to win your election, the path to victory runs through Extra 1063. Extra listeners are some of the most engaged, active in their communities, and outspoken on their beliefs, especially when it comes time to vote. So now's the time to get involved before our listeners move on to someone else. Tell the candidate you're voting for that if they want to win, the path to victory runs through Extra 1063 FM and the Extra 1063 app.
All right. Welcome back to Extra 1063. The 8 o'clock hour is brought by Central Heating and Air. CentralHeat.com. Chuck and his team do a fantastic job. Final thing I want to get to, Jerry, you don't even have this in the notes, but this was too good. I saw it this morning. There's a column in the Wall Street Journal yesterday. I just love, we always talk about how people get screwed over all the time and like the little people can't get ahead.
Yeah.
I feel that way nearly always, but when somebody does something awesome, I think it's worth pointing out.
Good news from Ben Burnett.
There is a Louisiana, it was like an electrical engineering conduit maker who sold his company to Eaton, who makes tons of power generation supplies. This guy was in Minden, Louisiana, a town you've never heard of and a place you will never go. Sold his company with 540 employees to Eaton for $1.7 billion, which is awesome by itself and good for that guy, right?
Merry Christmas.
He carved out 15% of that transaction for the people who had created that company.
The 540 employees? That is awesome.
That is unbelievable. And so it was essentially...
What's this guy's name?
300 or 400. Let me find it. The CEO, Graham Walker, who...
Good job by you.
Yeah, this by the end of the day will be absolutely everywhere. Carves out $240 million in bonuses after selling his company for $1.7 billion because the data center market exploded. Dude, it is so cool when people value the $5.75 guy who went to work for you.
Yeah.
Didn't want to leave his town, you know.
And when companies come in and buy those companies, the big question, and I've never acquired a company, but I would want to know, are these people going to stay? Are the people that made it successful going to stay? How do we keep them? That's one way right there.
Plenty of, in several of
Unless everybody retires.
Well, there were people that did retire, but they interview, and it's in the Washington Post, or not the New York Post version features the mayor from this little town in Louisiana. It was like, we knew something was up because our tax revenues of people like buying stuff or building permits, you know, to renovate their house or whatever, like it just skyrocketed in a way we never have happened. And like they had put off buying the car, they put off buying the new house or the vacation home or whatever. Dude, and one of the great quotes from Graham Walker was like, when they asked, he said, why did you do 15? And he said, well, I didn't want to do 10. And he said, I don't know how much money I felt like I would ultimately need, but I felt like there was no difference to my life if I did 15% for them because I'd have never been anywhere without them. And I think...
That's how it's supposed to work.
Man, it just reminds me. You hear Tucker Carlson talk about this a lot on his show, and he's like, I got outside of the machine because I really wanted to be good to who I wanted to be good to, and I wanted to do business with people and stuff that I believed in and liked and whatever. And I'm sure most of that is true, and I'm sure a little bit of it's altruistic. But when you see somebody who sets up a factory, he said during COVID, when the data center operation really got going, my company quadrupled in size in about 18 months. And we had to scale a little bit, but there were people that had been with him since the late 90s that were making $525 or $575, just needed a job. And to see people like that go make $500,000 or $600,000 or $700,000, like they never. This is a vast majority of people in America never wander into that kind of revenue.
Life-changing money for hundreds of people.
And I think that while it's easy to hate on Hunter and it's easy to hate on Fonnie Willis and it's easy to get wrapped around the axle of whatever it is that we argue about on this station, he ain't the only guy doing a deal like that.
Mm-mm.
Not The vast majority of people in this world are like, you know what? If I ever grew my business to $1 billion, I'd make somebody's damn life incredible. And I'm not saying there's a bunch of people out there that would do it, but I like to think that there's still enough of us that it's still like what you're after. Look, if you're one of my vendors, I don't negotiate with you. Like if I want you to perform work for me and I have to figure out how to make it work. And because I want you to be happy. And I think it is so important to always know at Christmas time, even though it's over and mercifully over for plenty of us, that there are a lot of people in this world that still do the right thing when it's their turn. I think that's going to do it for me today. You can follow Ben Burnett, myself, on Instagram at The Ben Burnett Show. I want to thank producer Jerry for coming in this day after Christmas. He just wanted to work that bad. And coming up, we've got Glenn Beck from 9 to noon, Clay Travis noon to 3. And what are we doing this afternoon? Who even knows?
Tune in and find out.
We'll see you guys next week.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.